2 years ago, I wasn't really sure whether I want to purchase the game that utilized giant mechs and was focused only on multiplayer. I was more of Battlefield kind of guy, and as bizarre as it sounds, I played Call of Duty for single-player campaigns. I risked it, I bought it, and I loved it. 2 years later, we got a sequel, and this time I was sure. My name is Michael, and this is my brief review of Titanfall 2. Respawn Entertainment, the studio behind Titanfall 2, proved that they can listen to what the fans are saying. This time around we got a single-player campaign, and it is one of the most amazing campaigns in shooters that I have ever experienced. We play as Jack Cooper, a random rifleman fighting for the SRS. A friend, Captain Lastimosa, is training Cooper to one day become a pilot, an elite soldier that uses Titans on the battlefield. Your unit gets a mission to go to Typhon and destroy the IMC forces there, and so it happens that you become a pilot much sooner than you would initially think. The developers managed to tell a story in which two worlds collide, an ambitious and fearless man seeking to live up to the expectations, and a machine that uses data and mathematical logic to decide on the proper course of action. The chemistry that these two have makes you like the campaign even more, despite the fact that the story itself is not a huge novelty in the genre. Additionally, the single-player campaign is a perfect mix of linearity and freedom. Yes, you have to move in one certain direction, and yes, there is usually only one way to progress further, but at the same time you have complete freedom of movement within the location. If you want to be sneaky, be sneaky. If you want to shoot enemies from a distance, you can do that. And if you want to do wall runs, execute enemies from up top and do crazy stunts at the same time, it's your choice. Maps are created in such a way so as to let you wipe out enemy forces the way you want it to happen. And it is fun. The only thing that I found lacking in the campaign was the enemy AI. It's pretty simple and too restricted. Although our hero is not Iron Man and cannot withstand too many bullets, regular enemies have the accuracy of stormtroopers, and it results in the game not being too challenging. The reason for that is probably the purpose that AI needs to serve in the multiplayer, and multiplayer is a whole different story. The sequel's multiplayer is basically built upon ideas introduced in the first game. Yeah, there are some changes that I'm going to list in a minute, but the premises are the same. There are two teams of pilots who fight on one of 9 maps across 8 game modes, although there are more listed in the menu, but these are other game modes mixed together. Depending on the game mode, you either kill other players for the sake of it, collect points by killing AIs and living enemies, or do the same thing but to collect money that you later need to store in the bank. Titanfall 2 definitely changed some things around in terms of available equipment for both the pilots and the Titans. As pilots, you now get access to more weapons and some new gadgets. For example, you get a sonar blade that helps you locate enemies, or a grappling hook that can either make it easier for you to run around the map, or is especially useful when you want to grapple an enemy and get him closer to just execute him. Satisfying as hell, believe me. Changes in the Titans work for the best. Now it looks more as the class system that you can find in some shooters. Instead of having 3 basic platforms that you can customize fully, you now get 6 Titans that have their unique abilities and equipment. Luckily, it feels like the balance has been kept in check and none of the Titans feels totally OP. But not all is perfect, as it sometimes feels like the maps are well made for pilots, but don't work as well when everyone is in their mechs. Some areas feel too crowded when you get 8 or even more Titans shooting themselves across a hall in a factory. It would be really good if the upcoming maps introduce some areas where Titans don't feel so out of place. And luckily, all the new shiny maps and Titans will be available free of charge, and that's not a given these days. To sum things up, I actually think that the game could look better. EA has a great game engine at their disposal, which is Frostbite, and they use it across many franchises: Dragon Age, Mass Effect, FIFA, or Battlefield. For some reason, Respawn Entertainment is stuck with the source engine that might not look so bad, but it's much worse when you compare it with Battlefield 1 that came out just 1 week earlier. I would love to see Titanfall 2 just as it is, but working on Frostbite. Hopefully the sequel to that will see the upgrade of the game engine. And that's more or less it. I really love the game, I like the pace, I like the dynamics, and I like how things were changed in multiplayer. Now it feels much more varied. If you're a fan of such things, both your pilot and your Titan can wear all the colorful skins and paints that you unlock as you progress through the game. But if you're not keen on multiplayer, you should check the game out for the sake of single-player campaign itself. The story in Titanfall 2 may not be super original, but the relationship that Cooper has with BT and the way the levels were designed, well, it's simply brilliant, and I wish more shooters created campaigns like this one. So great job, Respawn Entertainment. Once again, you show that you know how to make a really great shooter.